Shrek 5. By now I'm sure you've seen this goofy-ass looking design.
Look how they massacred my boy.
And today we're going to be fixing the entire thing with AI. To be honest, the animation isn't that bad. It's not like the Sonic movie from a few years ago. But people have already noticed that if you just like move his eyes apart and you fix his nose, he looks 20 times better. Hopefully the anti-AI crowd doesn't kill me for this one. And also DreamWorks, please don't sue me. Please don't sue me, DreamWorks. There are 3 characters that we're going to fix by replacing them with the original version from the old movies. First up is the Magic Mirror Mask. This man looks like he's just been mewing for the past 15 years. I half expect to open my TikTok feed and see a Patrick Bateman Sigma male edit with him. Next up is Shrek. Dude just got a really bad nose job, so we're gonna replace that and then also fix the top half of his head so he doesn't look like an egg anymore. And then at the same time, we'll fix his eyes so they're a little bit less cartoony and more mean looking. Finally, we have my boy Pinocchio. Pinocchio looks like he just got out of a Disney Pixar movie, like he's straight out of Toy Story. Not sure what happened and why he lost that sort of like crude wooden style to him. To drive all these changes, we'll be using an open source video model from China called Wanyan. This example here shows putting John Wick into the Severance opening, and it does more than what a deepfake would where it changes the face. It actually swaps his entire head, so like his hair is different, his facial structure is different. The entire thing is way better than what Deep Face Labs or any of those other programs could ever reproduce. So the idea is that if we use this for an animated 3D character, where we know what the old version looks like from the past movies, we could Photoshop an old version of the character onto the new trailer, and then let Wanyan do all the work remapping the performance for us. So the easiest one to start with should be the mask, and this image here looks like a pretty easy swap, so cue the time lapse. I'm no expert at Photoshop, but I think this looks pretty decent. At least it's better than the new Ozempic face they're trying to put out. So let's take our fixed version and import it into Comfy UI. This is just a tool that lets you run models locally. So we're able to upload our original video. Then we can take our edited Photoshop version, and it goes through all these nodes. This workflow was made by the same guy who made that John Wick edit. And you get something that looks like this. So you have the original video, and then you have our new modified version, and you can see this thing is just cursed. It has teeth, it has eyes, and it's bad. But it is following the motion of the original video, so we know it's working. So I'm gonna modify a bunch of these parameters. Each generation takes like 5 to 6 minutes for like a 2 to 3 second clip. So I'm gonna run it for about an hour and see if we have anything usable after everything is said and done.
1 hour later.
AI reviews. So generation number 1 was cooked. The eyes were there, the teeth were there, and honestly, the entire thing was just nightmare fuel. By generation 2, it got better and worse at the same time. The eyes were fixed to shadows, but the mouth still had the teeth, so this was somehow worse to me. Generation number 3 was promising. It had eyeshadows, and it had the mouth shadows without teeth, but when it moved, it just looked really, really deformed. Generation 4, I kind of overshot it, so it didn't even follow the motion, just made like a puckering kissy face. Gen 5 was better. As you can see, it was following the motion, but we were losing detail in like the eyes and the mouth when it was trying to move. So generation number 6 was able to clean a lot of that up. There's just like some weird artifact glitching in the chin and the mouth and a little bit in the eyes too. So generation 7 fixed it. This is like super close, and it's just that weird glitch in the bottom of the chin. And then generation number 8 was our final one. So this was super smooth. There's still like a weird little glitch at the very bottom of the chin, but I didn't mind it. So this is the version that we used for our final AI trailer.
Creating Shrek.
With Shrek, I tried to do the crude Photoshop version, but as you can see, it just turned out really, really bad. We lose detail in his hands because we're trying to work backwards, and then even worse than that, his daughter turns into some sort of like monster. So we need to reapproach how we do Shrek. Because the clip is 7 seconds long and my computer can only do about 5 seconds max before it wants to burn down, we need to find a way to split this clip in the very middle. Thankfully, there's this middle natural breakpoint where we see not only all the characters' faces, but also Shrek's hand. So this means we can work backwards for the first part of the clip and we can move forward for the second part of the clip. When it comes to fixing the Photoshop issue, we're really lucky because every single AI seems to know Shrek off rip. I'm not sure why, but like here's 30 seconds of text to video generation of Shrek doing random things.
Company, odlaście piwali. Oj, bez nastie. Warriors to the rings. Oh, man. beneath.
So because AI is so good at Shrek, we can literally just drag over our existing still shot and we can create a quick little mask. This tool is called inpainting and it allows us to replace a portion of an image with a text prompt. So once we have that colored in, we're going to type in Shrek. That's literally it. That's how easy this is. And because this model is trained off of old images of Shrek, it's going to generate something that's closer with the right nose and hopefully the right face shape. So in a few seconds here, we're going to have something and see how it looks. And yeah, in my opinion, this is a lot closer to the right face shape at the very least. Like his nose is the right shape. His eyes don't have that weird, like cartoony look to it. And his head is more rounded off and he's not so eggy. The texture is like completely wrong, but at least the lighting somewhat matches. So we'll take an image like this and then we'll throw it into Comfy UI and see what happens.
I'm Shrekking it.
So these two videos took some time to render and you can see a bit of a jump cut between the clips, but I think it turned out really well. Shrek looks more like himself, at least in his nose. His expressions look really weird, but obviously it's because it's AI. And other characters look a lot softer in their colors and animation. I think that's just due to the fact that the video model is like really, really low quality. So it's to be expected that we're matching like 2001 levels of animation quality compared to like 2025. But as you can see, Pinocchio is messed up. Thankfully, I think the animators used this exact clip I'm about to steal Pinocchio from as a reference, so I won't have to do any AI work on top of this. I can just go back to Photoshop. So let's see if I can make this work. Honestly, I'm kind of surprised that worked. Even though the nose isn't perfectly blended, it's going to look way worse when it's in the video generator. I'm not even sure if the video-to-video thing can follow the nose shrinking or growing, so we're going to see if that works and run a quick little test.
1 generation later.
So good news, the nose kind of followed the original shrinking and growing motion. Bad news is that Pinocchio's face looks like a slop garbage mess. It's also 2 a.m. and I really want to go to sleep. So I'm going to hypothesize a bunch of parameters that should be changed, set these to generate overnight, and hopefully by tomorrow something is usable. Then we can piece all of these together and make a final AI trailer. New day, and I'm wearing a sweatshirt to show that time has changed. So these generations turned out really, really bad. Everything's gonna be playing on a loop, so it's forward and then reverse. This first one, his mouth was fully connected to itself. Then his eyes are doing like a lot of weird shaking. Like he's just not usable at all. Once again, these clips are like really, really bad. And then we get to this area where his nose doesn't even move and he like completely morphs in on himself. This next one is even worse, where he doesn't like dip off screen at all. He just starts having like a spasm attack. Finally, we have something that's close to usable, but there's a lot of like tearing in his face. And our last generation here, I called good enough. He kind of has like a flaccid growing nose. Could probably use like a blue chew from a doctor, but I think it's fine. So we'll be using this in our final animation. The only issue is that our original video of Shrek was used to drive this, so we have to go through and we have to composite this new version of Pinocchio onto the old one. So that means doing like rotoscoping and VFX work, but it turned out really messy. So there's this weird glitching and like Shrek on a shirt and things like that. But there's one secret tool we have left. So because this is super low quality, we're going to take it to an AI video upscaler. This one is called Starlight by Topaz Labs. This was actually like just released. So here is our final version that we have with the AI upscaler on the right side and the old version on the left side. I'll pause this in a few areas and show you the slider difference. So like for Shrek's face, his low quality versus his high quality is way, way better. Like this looks like it was properly rendered. And same thing with Donkey, you get a bunch of detail back in the fur. It tries to fix his eyes in places, but obviously there's a bunch of glitches. But we move from like this right here to this. I think it looks absolutely insane what this project can do. And then same thing with like his daughter, right? Like there's no actual detail on her face and this just magically restores it, even puts stuff in her eyes. But the most important difference we had was with Pinocchio popping up. So there's a lot of weird frame glitch tearing like right there in his shirt. And this somehow just made it all cohesive. So like there's a few like shifts still, but Pinocchio actually is usable after this like rotoscope technique. Because like before, he just looks really, really, really bad. and this is passable to me at the very least. So thankfully Topaz is able to come through clutch on this, and we'll put this in our final scene and put every single clip together.
Who's the fairest of them all? Why, Shrek, of course.
Ew, Dad!
Ooh, mommy like.
Who's making this stuff?
And that's it. All that work for 10 seconds of slop. I did add one more Easter egg in there. I thought it would be funny to replace the old head of Shrek that's superimposed on the muscular body with the new head, the cursed like animation version. So I did some quick tracking in After Effects, a little bit of Photoshop work, and it turned out pretty well. So hopefully somebody dumb thinks that that's made with AI too. But if you actually learned something in this video, make sure you click subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.